For all of the great music we made with Jim, the highlight was always the musicals. There was always a spring musical, and he also conducted summer musicals. So, in the first half of this program, we're going to do medley from Showboat and Oklahoma, but we want to touch on the other musicals that were done in that time. We don't have time to do all of them, but we want to give you a hint as to what some of them were. In 1960, in the spring, we did The Red Mule by Victor Herbert. We'll sing one song from that. 61, we did Sunny by Jerome Curran, and we'll do one song from that. Also, between Showboat and Oklahoma, we're going to do a song from Babes in Arms, which was the summer show in 1962. And then we just want to give mention, with Sandy's help, to the shows that we haven't programmed. No No Nanette, featuring 2 songs.
Everybody, T for 2 and 2 for T, okay, and I want to be happy. I want to be happy, but I can be happy too. Anyway, something like that.
And from High Button Shoes in 1961, On a Sunday by the Sea.
On a Sunday by the sea. Okay, so
That's right. There were many momentous events during our high school years. John Kennedy was elected president. We had the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Berlin Wall crisis, and the subsequent fear of nuclear annihilation. We had the space race. But looking back on it, the most important thing that happened in our history, at least in U.S. history, was the Civil Rights Movement. And I've always had a sneaking suspicion that Jim programmed Showboat in 1962 because of that. When Showboat was first performed 35 years before our performance in 1927, it shocked the world in Broadway, opening not with dancing girls, but with African-American people working, literally slaving on the docks, and singing about how terrible their life was. As I look back, 51 years after our performance, I think the Showboat actually deserves a point in the history of the Civil Rights Movement because it brought those issues to public attention in a way that nothing else could. Music has that power, and I encourage you, especially when we sing Old Man River, to listen to the accompaniment to the chorus, where Jerome Curran put that misery into music in a way that is just indescribable. So Showboat was our 62 show, and it was also reprised as a summer show in 1966. That's important today because we're going to start out with Can't Help Loving That Man, and Kathy Crowley, who played Julie, in our show in 1962, will lead that one off. And then Barbara Masters, who played Julie in 1966, will sing Bill.
No, we're not, we're candy though.
Bill got canned? Bill got canned. Barbara, don't Bill. All right, I just got the word. In any case, Joanne Hackett Kirchhoff and I will sing Make Believe, and then my lifelong friend Bill Bower will join me in the chorus for Old Man River. Bill sang that. He played Joe at our performance in 1962.
If we put our thoughts in action, we can vanish Let me go away from the Mississippi. Let me go away from the white man walls. Show me that stream called the River Jordan. That's the old stream.
actually grew up in Columbus, but by some miracle of God's plan, he now teaches strings in District 303. He teaches strings here, and so he's going to be joining us with violin and trumpet later. So Andy Masters will be playing along. Andy Masters will be joining with violin on this next song.
I am forever grateful to Jim Getty for casting me as Judd Fry in Oklahoma. I was pretty shy and insecure in high school, and being given the opportunity to publicly express my latent sociopathy did wonders for my self-confidence. So I'm going to turn this over to Bill Russell, our Curly, and the performance. He is going to set the stage and announce the next song.
Exactly 50 years ago this year, we put this show on. This is Rogers and Hammerstein's Oklahoma, which was produced only 20 years before that. But in 1963, we put on Oklahoma with Greg Schmidt as Judd Fry, a hired hand who lives in a dirty old smokehouse. And he and Curly are vying for the same lovely but virginal woman, Lori. Judd and Curly have an altercation in the smokehouse over contemplating Judd's impending suicide, what things would be like if Judd committed suicide. Now, if that wouldn't get us in trouble with the political correctness police, the fact that we both have loaded guns on stage probably would. But then when you think that the year before, when we did Showboat, Bill Bauer and Sherry Norris did their roles in blackface. I mean, we were serial violators of political correctness. But the scene takes place in a dirty old smokehouse, and Judd and Curly are contemplating how people would react to Judd's suicide. This is from 1963, directed by Mr. Jim Getty. Poor Judd is Dead.
Poor Judd is dead, poor Judd Fry is dead. All gather round his coffin now and cry. He had a heart of gold, and he wasn't very old. Oh, why did such a fella have
to die. Poor Judd is dead, poor Judd Fry is dead. He's looking oh so peaceful and serene. He's all laid out to rest, with his hands across his chest. His fingernails ain't never been so clean. And then the preacher'd get up and he'd say, folks, we's gathered here today to mourn and groan our poor brother Judd Fry, who done hung himself up by a rope in the smokehouse. And then he'd say, Judd was the most misunderstood man in the whole territory. Why, people used to think he was a mean, ugly fella, and call him a dirty skunk and a ornery pig stealer. But the folks that really know him know that beneath them two dirty shirts he always wore, their feet are hard as big as all outdoors. As big as all outdoors. Judd Fry loved his fellow man. He loved his fellow man. Oh, he loved the birds of the forest and the beasts of the field. He loved the mice and the vermin in the barn. And he treated the rats like equals. Which was right. He loved all the little children. He loved everything and everybody in the world. Only he never let on, so nobody ever noticed. Poor Judd is dead, poor Judd Fry is dead. His friends a weep and wail for miles around. Miles around! The daisies in the dell will give out a different smell, because poor Judd is underneath the ground. Poor Judd is dead, our candle lights his head. He's laying in a coffin made of wood. And folks are feeling sad, 'cause they used to treat him bad. And now they know their friend has gone for good. Good. Poor Judd is dead, our candle lights his head. He's looking oh so pretty and so nice. He looks like he's asleep. It's a shame that he won't keep. But it's summer and we're running out of ice.
And I sat by myself like a cobweb on a shelf, by myself in a lonely room. But when there's a moon in my window, and its lights on a breeze across my head, and the shadow of a tree starts a-dancing on the wall, and the dream starts a-dancing in my head, and all the things that I wish for turn out like I want them to be. and the mouse was nibbling on the broom. And the sun that flicks my eyes, it was all a pack of lies. I'm awake in a lonely room. I ain't gonna dream about her arms no more. I ain't gonna leave her alone. Oh, outside, get myself a bride. Get me a woman, go all I own.
Mr. Jim Getty has very kindly offered to share some of his reminiscences with us, and we're going to let him do that at this point and give us a chance to catch our breaths. Jim.
What is your chair? Jim, do you want to sit on the seat?
All right, well, I'll stand right here, and I don't think I need it. Can y'all hear me? First thing I think Greg has raised his voice a third of an octave. Super good. And Joanne and I traveled yesterday from Champaign to get up here, and we reminisced about taking the route we came when we auditioned. And I say we, because certainly behind everybody there's a certain person, and we certainly have one here. John Abrams, Helen's dad, got us to do Babes in Arms, and Joanne accompanied that. And one of the things that we did, we moved it out to the King County building out there. Yeah. And we got the policeman from Geneva to come over and be in the bathing scene by the beach, you know, the dramatic scene. And it's amazing what all these people have done. And, we came up 47 to 64 it came in, which was the way we came for an interview. And John Redling and Mr. Reed. So when you were singing, I thought certainly John Redling needs to have a copy of this. It touched me, and I'm sure Russ heard it too. So it was just magnificent, magnificent. I was touched by Denny Hugh's remembrances. I think Denny was a hard-working fella. He fell right into line with me, and we did a lot of things together. I remember him and I putting up our second floor storm windows and taking them out there. But his talent, and certainly when you team him with Bill Russell, everybody on stage knew that you were going to laugh the minute those two fellows walked on stage, whether they said a word or not. So these are certain memories. I remember the lights, that came up, the stage lights that came up, and they had never been a problem until we did one particular show where the opening chorus came in and some of them took a knee like a quarterback would do and dropped down on that knee. Well, the lights were in their eyes. They said they couldn't see me. So we didn't know how we'd settle that, but someone said Elwood Willie, the band director at Batavia, directed his high school band for the Star Spangled Banner every year with the lights off in the stadium, and he would get on the ladder and he would have that light at the top, and he had a light at the top. He said, that's the solution. So I called Elwood, and he said, well, it's a simple thing. He said, it's just a handheld little baby flashlight, 2 small batteries, and it's got a plastic wand with a suction cup that goes on there. Well, I tried that. And everything was fine at rehearsal, and this came late, and so we didn't know, but it came to, probably the final dress rehearsal. We used it, and we got through it all right. But the overture for the first show, actually, the first night after the dress rehearsal, I was using something, and I flipped up, and the suction cup pulled loose, went like an airplane. And here's Rick Bell over playing string bass, and I heard, and now the overture's over, I'm sitting down and somebody's passing that. And the other thing was we had a wonderful singer by the name of Barb Speck, and we did this show Sunny, which they sang, and I thought we ought to use a horse on stage. So I went to Russ Reed and John Redling, and they said, well, you can do it if we get an engineer in and check the stage. Now, you know what we were using for the stage, of course, that wonderful facility above the choir room that had the ball basketball court. And so we carefully got the horse in, and I hadn't told the horse about it. The first violinist was, I can't remember, he lived in Aurora, and he came to the dress rehearsal, and he said, I hear you're using a horse. I said, yes. He said, that animal weighs 1,300 pounds. He said, if it would come into your did, think of what it would do. And I just kind of chuckled, it's not going to happen, But it went on, and we did this 3 nights, and it worked out perfectly. But the 3rd night, we're doing the overture, and from under the curtain comes the aroma and the violinist is looking up at me. So these are memories to talk about, but when you hear this talent, so you know that they don't need a lot of direction. It's there, but it was wonderful to work with and to have the memories of coming back and meeting you and hearing you and just sharing in this. And Joanne and I are so appreciative of what you have done and to think that you would manage to put this all together. And for Sandy and Greg, and we just thank you so very much. And come again.